Welcome to Show Me Something Wrong,
where each episode one of us chooses a movie to watch that the other hasn't seen. The movie is often obscure, usually odd, and always wrong. I'm Dave.
And I'm Guy.
And this mini-season, we're focusing on rip-offs, unofficial sequels, and wrong adaptations. Mm-hmm. Today I've chosen the movie, and it is Lady Terminator, a.k.a. fucking hell, here we go.
I was wondering if you could do this.
A.k.a. This is going to sound terrible, I'm so sorry. Pembalasan Ratu Pantai Selatan.
Oh, you butchered that.
I definitely butchered that, which translates to Revenge of the South Sea Queen.
Well, that makes sense.
It's from 1988. It's from Indonesia, and it's directed by Cut Jalil under the pseudonym Jalil Jackson.
Oh.
So we mentioned it last time, but Lady Terminator, as you can probably guess from the title, is a rip-off of sorts of The Terminator. And in preparation for this pod, I rewatched The Terminator and The Terminator 2, which I'd not seen in quite some time. And fuck, that was a great rewatch, revisiting those films. Yeah. Are you a fan of the Terminator movies?
First two, 100%. Yeah.
I pretend that the others don't exist.
But again, neither of them I have seen in a very long time. I couldn't tell you the last time I saw a Terminator movie. But we did speak briefly about them in the past on this podcast, because one of them was kind of source of trauma for me.
Yeah, and me
for
as
you.
well.
Yeah, but different scenes.
Was that on the pod?
It was on the pod.
Right, okay.
I can't remember why we went on to talk about Terminators.
Maybe it was in a Q&A episode and we got asked about films that traumatized us when we were kids.
Yeah.
But we were traumatized by different things, right?
Different scenes. For me, I had in my mind a scene embedded at a very young age, and I did not know what it was from.
Right.
It wasn't until way later when I was rewatching, I think, Terminator 2, and it's the scene where Sarah Connor has a syringe full of maybe bleach or something.
Yeah.
Like,
to the doctor's
into someone's neck and is holding him hostage.
Right.
And it was that scene that traumatized me.
Sure.
And I just had that scene like burnt into my brain, not knowing where it was from, but being terrified of it. And then when I finally rewatched Terminator 2, I was like, oh my God.
It's this film.
This is the fucking scene.
For me, it was the first Terminator. Mm-hmm. Absolutely scared the shit out of me. I don't know how I happened to see it, but I think maybe my parents or my older brother were watching The Terminator, and I walked in and just saw the scene where Arnie comes in and murders the housemate of Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
And it just like really upset me because it's so cold and nasty. And that first film it's
quite dirty, isn't it?
It's quite a grubby, nasty film.
It doesn't go so like sci-fi as Terminator 2. It's a bit more gritty.
I will say, like, the second film, this is not the Terminator podcast, but I will say the second film is, like, when I rewatched it, I'm like, yeah, the second film is objectively a better film. Like, it's pretty amazing and the action is incredible. But that first one is my personal favorite just because I kind of enjoy that childhood trauma that I have attached to it.
Yeah.
But I had nightmares about Arnie for weeks. Months even after that. All right, so should we get on to Lady
Let's do
Terminator? So before we get into it, I just wanted to say that I have two main sources for all the information in this episode. The main one is an interview with Barbara Ann Constable, and she was interviewed by Andrew Leavold. Do you know Andrew Leavold? He's a really great Australian documentary filmmaker. Mm-hmm. Actually, you might have seen one of his films. He made The Search for Wang Wang.
Is it not Mr. Impossible? Is it no?
Impossible Kid?
Yeah.
And For Your Height Only.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a film where he's trying to find what happened to the actor Wang Wang, who was a little person actor in those films.
I've not seen the documentary.
It's really great.
But I do like Wang Wang films.
Yeah, you should definitely see that documentary. And I think he's currently working on a documentary maybe about films from Ghana, I think. Maybe Ghana, and he went over there and ended up starring in a film.
Oh,
He's like the villain in the film, so
amazing.
Definitely keep an eye out for that. So that was my main source. And then the other source of information was my old Mondo Macabro DVD, which had some extras, some scenes from the Indonesian version of the film as a comparison, and then a documentary about Indonesian exploitation cinema.
Lovely. Yeah. Last time when we did the Homo T, we talked about Turkish rip-off cinema being referred to as Turksploitation. Is there a term for Indonesian exploitation rip-off stuff? Do you know?
That is a good question. I don't think so. No. Yeah, I think it's just like Indonesian exploitation, but please correct me if I'm wrong, listeners.
Yeah, I mean, Turksploitation kind of rolls off the tongue, but Indonesian exploitation... Indonesian-exploitation. Indonesian-exploitation.
Yeah, I feel like there's not...
We coined it.
So yeah, let's get into Indonesian exploitation.
Oh, you're not even going to say the word.
No, I'm not going to try. Have we done any films from Indonesia?
I feel like we have.
Was that werewolf one we did?
Werewolf was Thai.
Oh, Thai, okay.
Hang on, let me get...
Oh, no, we have. One of my ones. We did American Hunter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think we talked too much about Indonesian cinema at that time, though. So let's do a little recap. So the 1970s was a golden age for Indonesian exploitation films.
Right.
So there were generous tax concessions for filmmakers at that time. And on top of that, importers of foreign films were kind of forced by the government to produce homegrown titles. So essentially for every 5 imported Western films, they needed to produce 1 Indonesian film, which of course led to a boom of very cheap, sleazy exploitation films in the 70s. Of which I've not really seen many 70s Indonesian films.
No, nor I.
I think everything I've seen is from the 80s, because that's when things changed a little bit.
Okay.
In the 80s, that was like the height of the Suharto government.
Okay.
Who was like essentially like a dictator. Yeah.
Not a great guy.
Basically, yeah. And so that was the height of his powers. And also, of course, Indonesia is an Islamic country, a Muslim country. They decided to crack down on the sleaze in the movies. So they wanted to get rid of the sexy stuff.
That's not fun,
I know. So then filmmakers were like, well, we still want to make these cheap exploitation films, so they turned to gore instead of sex. Even though there's still a bit of sex in these films, especially the one from today.
Well, yeah, this was a lot sexier than I was expecting. Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about that later as well. And the problems that caused. Yeah, they shifted to focus on horror and violent martial arts films as more of like a commercial necessity. So that's why there's so many horror films from the 80s from Indonesia. And of course, they didn't have the money of Western films, so they had to give these locally produced films their own flavor to make up for the lack of quality and budget.
Right.
So producers would look for subjects that were already popular, already well known. So often old Indonesian legends, folk tales, a lot of witchcraft, a lot of black magic, stuff like that. And Indonesian comics were also a big source of inspiration.
Did they have their own superheroes and stuff?
I think so, yeah.
That's
so
cool.
I can't remember which film, but one of the martial arts films that Mondo Macabro released is based on this old Indonesian comic.
Nice.
I think it was The Warrior. I'm pretty sure it's that one, which is about... I've seen that, but a long time ago. I think he's like fighting the Dutch invaders and just murdering them and stuff. But yeah, another Indonesian story that inspired a lot of exploitation films was The Legend of the Queen of the South Seas, which this film...
So this is a real legend.
Yeah, it's like a very, very old legend. I'm not going to go into too much detail of the legend because it's very fucking complicated. And I read a few pages about it. I'm like, this is not really relevant. But basically, the South Sea Queen is a supernatural being from Indonesian folklore. And she lives on the ocean floors. As we see in the film, kind of, and summons...
Not really.
Yeah, not quite. And summons male worshippers.
Okay. Starting to connect the dots, yeah.
Yeah, so according to the Mondo Macabro documentary, in coastal areas, this was actually seen as a real thing, not just a legend, which kind of brings to mind the Oily Maniac
Yeah.
episode, where there were people genuinely believed that there was an oily maniac going around and doing all sorts of stuff. So
Being greasy.
yeah, being very greasy. Yeah, often in coastal areas. I don't know about now today, but at least back when this film was made, when people drowned, it would often get blamed on the South Sea Queen, who was angry at them for some reason.
Christ.
Yeah. And there's an actress in Indonesia called Susanna.
Okay.
Just the one name.
Just one name?
Yeah, which was apparently a thing in Indonesia, to only have one name. So I mentioned...
Is this just like as a stage name or as...
No.
Really?
No, it's a thing. So Suharto, the president, his name is just Suharto.
Wow.
Because for this, I was like, what's his full name? I've never heard his full name. He doesn't... It's just Suharto.
Is that... Is he like special because he's the president, or just the general... The average Joe is just called Joe?
Could be.
That's mad.
Yeah.
Dude, like doing official paperwork must be pretty vague.
I guess so.
Sign here. Joe.
But yeah, I didn't look too much further into it, but yeah. To be fair though, Susanna is probably a stage name.
Probably.
Yeah, she became famous for playing sort of evil queen, witchy type roles, like South Sea Queen type roles. And Lady Terminator is kind of a throwback to these sort of Susanna roles.
So, sorry, just to confirm, this Susanna person, is she in Lady Terminator?
No. She was well known for playing these
types of roles
back in the 70s and early 80s.
Oh, okay. And then Lady Terminator is a homage or throwback to this Susanna lady.
Exactly.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, this is kind of returning to this very popular genre of evil ocean queens.
So Susanna was like the Scream Queen of Indonesia?
Yeah. And I was looking up some of her films and they look great. Yeah. So I definitely want to dig into her back catalogue later. So we've got this Indonesian folklore side to Lady Terminator. But of course, producers also want their films to have an appeal overseas. They wanted to make sure their films were not only had this local Indonesian kind of appeal, but had all the kind of special effects that international horror fans had grown to expect. So at this point in time in the 80s, they started doing these, I think, really great effects. Like in this film, they're amazing.
So much better than I was expecting.
Yeah, it's so cool. And in that, I can't remember his name, but in the documentary on the Mondo Macabro DVD, they have the effects guy being interviewed, and he just seems like such an awesome guy. And he's just making stuff from things they just find. So it's really, really cheaply done, but just like pure artistry, like incredible stuff. Yeah. Another way they tried to appeal to the international market was using foreign actresses in leading roles. So, for example, have you seen, it's another Chut Jalil movie, Mystics in Bali?
You know what? I haven't, and it's a sin that I haven't, because I know how much everyone loves it, and everything, all the clips and images I've seen of it, I know that I would love it too, but I just still haven't gotten around to it.
It's great. So that's from 81, so it's a little bit before Lady Terminator. But yeah, same director, and the lead actress in that is an Australian as well. So that's when they were starting to play with this idea of using foreign actresses to get... Yeah, to have more of a chance in the international market. Highly recommend a double bill Mystics in Bali, Lady Terminator. Oh.
It seems like Mystics in Bali is more horror based than...
Yeah, it's definitely more horror than action. Yeah, but it's so good. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know why I still haven't gotten around to it.
You will love it so much.
I know I will. It's one of those like, I know I'm going to love it. I don't know why, if that's why I haven't watched it.
Yeah, go for it. You got to see that. So to appeal to an international audience with Lady Terminator, they cast another Australian, but we'll talk about that. Not the same Australian as Mystics in Bali, a different Australian. We'll get to her later on. Okay. Because I've got a lot to say about her. Also, to take this international appeal even further, they decided to combine the legend of the South Sea Queen with one of the biggest hits in America from the 80s, which is, of course, The Terminator. So that's why you've got this absolutely insane hybrid.
It really is like a bizarre mash of two completely different stories.
Yeah, it's so good. And it doesn't work, but it does.
It's fantastic, but it's not quite... its own original thing, and it's not quite enough of a rip-off to be considered just a Terminator rip-off.
Totally, yeah.
It's just a weird kind of in-between area film.
I would imagine as well for the first bit of this, it's a bit like, wait, what's this got to do with the Terminator? I was wondering if you were thinking that watching it.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, it just becomes the Terminator.
Yeah.
It's great.
There were so many things I was like, wait, this didn't happen in the Terminator. And then with the whole legend of the South Sea Queen as well, I was just like, I was not expecting this. I was literally expecting the Terminator in Indonesia.
Yeah. Which I think is what makes it so much fun. Like that's what really adds to the enjoyment of this film. How different it is for a rip-off film.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these rip-offs are just cheap, shitty versions of it. But this is not.
This is like original enough to be enjoyed as its own thing.
Totally. Yeah. And I will say, I like this film as much as I like The Terminator. They're both 10 out of 10 films for me. All right, should we get onto the film itself? And as we go through, I'll scatter in some more
sprinkles along the way.
Bits and pieces, yeah.
Yeah, so we open with a sex scene.
Yeah.
Right from the beginning.
And a very strange quote as well.
What's the quote?
There's both the opening and ending of this film have very strange, like, narration. Yeah, we've got this sort of spooky wind sound, the ocean, big giant waves, and we get this, like, narration that says,
"Sometimes the past should be left to memory, to gather dust within the covers of recorded time."
What does that have to do with anything that happens?
Not very Terminator-like either.
But yes, you're right. We're getting a sex scene in a castle as well by the beach.
Yeah.
What did you think of this opening sex scene?
Well, I mean, first of all, the bed is fucking massive. It is so big. It's huge. You can fit the entire cast in that bed.
Do you reckon they built this bed for the film?
I would not be surprised. I don't think they sell that in Mattresses R Us. And then, so you got this lady banging this guy who's doing like a full-on Dan Aykroyd in Ghostbusters. He's like, whoa, you know. And then out of nowhere, just blood starts spraying up all over his chest area and face, and that's it. He's done.
And what direction is that blood coming from? Would you say
the nether regions,
the dick region? Yeah,
dick regions.
So we can't really tell quite at this point, but it seems like his dick's been ripped off, which we'll get a lot of in this film. We do.
And she says,
"Is there any man who can satisfy me?"
So that's her whole thing. She's just a horny old witch of the sea.
Yeah, the horny South Sea witch queen. And yes, in answer to that question, yes, there is someone who can satisfy you. So we have a hunk coming in, the hunk of the South Sea.
So he's another one of these, I don't know what things, trying to appeal to a international audience, because he's another white guy, isn't he?
Yeah, this is a foreign guy. I don't have much information on this guy, but
he's just there to be a hunk.
Yeah, all of the foreign actors in this are not actors.
Right.
As you can probably guess. Yeah. And were just expats that were living in Indonesia.
Oh, man, yeah.
My favorite bit here, like, so he comes in, like, super confident, right? Yeah. And then she goes over and rips his shirt open, and he does this little giggle. Which is really, like, not very masculine at all.
But sorry, before we continue, like, so all of these people, expats who just happen to be around, which we hear a lot of, especially in the movies that we talk about. Same thing with the guy in Fatal Termination who like grabs Yang. The same as the Australian girl who's in that Issei Sagawa porn film, right?
Right, yeah.
We hear it so much. They were just like in the right or wrong place at the right or wrong time, and ended up being in this like fucking insane film.
Yeah.
Would you ever, if someone was just like, "Hey, I'm looking for an extra for this like film I'm making," like in Japan, would you be like, "Hell's yeah," or would you be like, "Fuck no"?
I would say probably no, just because I know, I would imagine it would be very boring. Right. Because I'd just be like waiting around and I just don't really have time
for this.
It, you know? But if I had nothing to do with film, if I was just a random expat, maybe I would, because it would be quite a fun thing to do.
Yeah.
But I think the both of us have kind of, not to say we're like in the film industry or anything, but we've both made films, so it's like maybe not as exciting.
Sure.
But if it was a director I I liked or I was interested in what it was, then I think I would still say yes. How about you?
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think it would be interesting providing the project was interesting enough, but also in this day and age with the internet and knowing that, you know, these things once they're there forever. And you know, it's not like when we think about the lady who fucked, say, Sagawa, you know, there was no internet at the time. I think she probably would have thought it'd been a quick bang, quick buck, and it would have been buried. Never to have been leaked online a few years later.
We might be talking more about that later when we talk about the lead actress in this. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So let's hold that for later.
All right, so back to the film. So the hunk expat bangs the witch, and then he bangs something slimy out of her.
It's a snake or an eel or something starts slithering out of, I guess, her
what?
A bits.
He fucked the eel out of her.
Yeah. It seems to be going to get him, right? And then he grabs it. And it turns, he sort of runs his hand down it and it turns into a dagger. Yeah. And the dagger, it's something called a kris. Have you ever heard of this before? Yeah, I had to look this up. So it's apparently, it's a special kind of dagger from Indonesia, known for its distinctive blade patterning. Oh. And its cultural significance as both a weapon and a spiritual object. Oh. So there you go.
There you go.
Kris.
So
he pulls out kris.
So he takes her eel vagina, turns it into a kris. And not eel vagina, vagina eel. I mix those words up. Turns it into a kris.
Yeah.
And she's livid.
Yeah.
She can't believe it.
He also says a very line that I don't really understand, where he's like,
"You are my wife now. I want you to stop the killings."
But it's like, what, they're married now?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't get the details.
And now she's like, she puts a curse on him. Yeah. Which are also very specific.
In 100 years, I'll have my revenge on your great-granddaughter.
And then she disappears and then reappears on the beach and is like, well, I'm going to the bottom of the sea.
Yep.
and then I'll come back later to get my revenge.
Yeah. So I've got to say some things here because I had a lot of questions from this opening scene.
Right.
A lot. So what was the actual issue here? Why was she so mad? Was it because he took her vagina eel?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So she was mad that he took her vagina eel.
Yeah.
And so she was like, I'm going to go to the bottom of the sea.
Yeah.
And come back for revenge, right?
Yeah.
But the thing is, she was already evil. She was already like a spiritual entity that had magical powers.
Yeah.
So why did she need to go to the bottom of the sea to like get the more powers?
I don't know.
Normally, it's like the other way around. Like you sign a pact with the devil or something, and then you become almighty.
True.
But she's already almighty.
Yeah.
So I didn't get it.
I guess she needed more evil powers.
So she's not evil enough yet.
Yeah.
But she's like the queen.
Extra evil.
She just sits around eating grapes all day.
Yeah, biting off dicks with a eel.
A vagina
eel. Yeah, it's not very clear.
No.
I don't think I have an answer for you.
If it was the other way around, like she was like, fuck you, right, I'm going to get revenge, I'm going to make a pact with the devil or the sea queen or something, then it makes perfect sense.
And look, maybe we're looking into this too much, but perhaps by losing that eel, the vagina eel.
Yeah, why does she even have that?
Perhaps from losing that, she needed to go build up her evil powers again.
Oh.
But I think I'm giving the script too much credit there. There's not a lot of logic in this script, really.
No. But I'll tell you what I did like after she does go down to the bottom of the sea, we just get the credits with lots of slow crashing waves, and it's very like hypnotic.
I love those credits. I really love them, and the text is just like this big, ugly red titles that are kind of bleeding into the shot, and it looks so good. And yeah, with the slow motion waves,
that's great.
It's awesome. Also, a few interesting things from the opening credits. You might notice that the makeup is credited to Barbara Ann Constable, one of the makeup credits. So that is actually the lead actress in this. So apparently she had to do her own makeup because whenever the Indonesian makeup crew did her makeup, she looked fucking ridiculous. And I guess they had no idea how to apply makeup to her face.
Oh man, so she got an artist credit, makeup credit. That's great.
It's nice they credited her.
Yeah.
And also, you might have noticed it said that the film was dubbed in LA. So in Los Angeles, they did the dubbing. And we might hear a bit more about that later on as well.
There's a lot to talk about.
I also love the Lady Terminator title as well. It's just so cheesy and so good. Because you've had these really, as you said, like quite, hypnotic titles. And then suddenly it's just like, Lady Terminator, just zooming onto the frame. Then we cut to Tanya, a tourist in Indonesia. And Tanya is played by the Australian actress we just mentioned, Barbara Ann Constable. Barbara Ann Constable.
I bet the Indonesians were so jealous her having 3 names. Yeah, they've only got one.
We've only got one. Come on. So she was a dancer back in the day.
Okay.
She used to dance at a casino in Queensland. At that time, she injured her ankle and couldn't do classic. She was like classically trained, so she couldn't do like classical dance and ballet after that.
She was doing ballet in a casino.
Maybe not. She was maybe doing a different kind of dance there and injured herself there. So she was kind of put in this spot where her dreams had kind of been crushed a little bit. Right? So she and her boyfriend decided to let the injury heal and just take a sabbatical. And they went to Japan for 6 months. Hung out there for a while. And on the way back from Japan, she went through Hong Kong. And what's that song?
Hong Kong Garden.
Oh, God.
Susie and the Banshees.
And she absolutely loved Hong Kong. Yeah. And she was planning to just stop over for a short time, but decided to stay a bit longer. While in Hong Kong, she ended up getting a modeling contract. Through this modeling contract, doing a lot of modeling work there, she ended up being cast in a Chinese film.
Okay.
Of which she doesn't remember the title of. Can't find that film. Nothing about that online. She said it wasn't very interesting. It's not a horror. It's like a drama or something she was in. And after this Chinese film, she got... Now, I couldn't quite work this out. She got offered the part for Lady Terminator. And the way that she talks about it, it sounds like they just offered it to her without an audition or anything.
Right.
Based on what they'd seen in this Chinese film. Not sure if that's 100% true, though. They didn't tell her it was the lead role. Okay. They're just like, yeah, we really want you to do this role. And all she knew about the film was that it would be filmed in Jakarta and that it was a rip-off of the Terminator.
Okay.
And she would be learning how to shoot guns for the film.
So they didn't tell her that she's going to be naked throughout the majority of the film?
No. So the script itself, that she ended up getting a script, and all that was just her running about and shooting people, and it didn't have any of, like, the sex stuff at all. So she was also told, and this brings us back to something you mentioned before, she was also told that it was going to be made for the local Indonesian market only. Mm-hmm. And she had no idea that it would be released internationally. And she was fucking furious about it and was absolutely mortified to find out that it actually screened in New York after it was released. Yeah. And she felt very much like cheated by the producers for that. My feeling is that she regrets making this film.
This interview, how long after the fact was this done?
Way later. Okay. So this is from the 2000s.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. She must have come to terms with it to some degree, to do interviews about it and stuff.
Yeah. There's not many interviews with her. I could only find 2 online. So, yeah, I guess somewhat she has, but...
Okay. And did she do anything after this?
No.
This is it.
This is it.
After she was cheated. She's like, never again.
Yeah, just this. Just a few little things I wanted to say about her that I couldn't really fit anywhere else. So, on the set, every night, she would get a 2-hour massage.
Oh, that's nice.
Sounds quite nice.
Yeah.
And would get stoned with the cinematographers.
Jesus.
She said she was stoned out of her mind for the whole shoot.
Oh, wow.
But not while filming, but like... At the moment she stopped, she was just like stoned with the cinematographer. I
was gonna say, like, because having to run as much as she ran whilst high, that would have been tough.
Yeah, for sure. And she said everyone was just smoking joints the whole time on the film. It was 3 full months of shooting for her with no days off.
Oh my God.
She was working 16 hours a day while the crew was working about 20 hours a day. And while she was working on the film, she felt really bad for the crew because they just had nothing. They were all like extremely poor. And when she left, she just gave all of her stuff to them, like all her clothes and everything, just because she felt so bad for them. And she has a lot of nice things to say about the crew. She seems to really like the crew.
That's nice.
Also, and we'll talk about this more later as well, she did all her own fucking stunts for this film. And there's some fucking crazy shit in this.
She was pretty damn great.
Yeah.
There's a few things, like, in particular, I thought, when she gets shot, which she gets shot a lot, the way she makes her body, like, recoil and, like, flail about is fucking amazing.
I've got a tale about that. But
Should we save it for later?
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
You might be quite shocked to hear why her acting is so good in that scene.
Right.
All right, so back to the film. We've got Tanya. She's going into a library.
So this is the granddaughter now, right?
No.
Is it not?
The granddaughter is... I believe the granddaughter is the...
the singer lady.
Yeah, the singer lady. I think.
But it's a white dude who bangs the sea of the
confusing.
queen.
But later on, because I was like, wait, which one was cursed?
Yeah.
But I do think it's the other one because she talks about her great granddad.
I'm glad you're here to explain it all.
Yeah. I mean, I could be wrong, but I believe that's the case. So she goes into the library. We meet an old man who... I'm very confused about this. He's not credited, and there's nothing online about this except for the interview with Barbara Ann Constable. But she says this is the director playing this role, and I think it is, but he's got some like fake beard on and stuff. So I believe this is Chut Jalil playing this role. By the way, according to Barbara, he was very gentle and very kind. So that's a nice thing to know, isn't it?
Nice.
So Tanya says that she's looking for a book on the South Sea Queen because she's heard about this story about a castle that sank into the sea. All right. Didn't hear that in the opening, but okay. And she's also heard about the Chris that has these magical powers. So the old man goes off to get the book, finds it, blows off the dust. But I love this. He's like, got the book. And then he's like, no, don't take it.
Yeah.
It's like, why did you bother to get it? So he's warning her that the South Sea Queen will like possess her and it's really dangerous to look at it. It's like, just pretend that you don't have it.
Just don't have it.
But I love her line here.
Oh, it's a good one.
Yeah.
I'm an anthropologist, huh?
So we mentioned the dubbing before, right? So in the interview, she was like, when she watched it, she was like, "What the fuck? I didn't say huh when I did this line." So they just added that in, like in LA.
So good. There's so many ridiculous lines in this.
It's great,
and the fact that it was all overdubbed is fucking great.
They must have just been taking the piss. I'm sure they.
100%.
It's one of my favorite things about the film.
Oh, definitely.
But she ignores the warning, checks out the book, and she is stoked.
That old man gave me the creeps, but if I don't finish my thesis, I don't graduate. So let's just get on with it.
Cut to her on a boat with an old man who is just really pissed off about going on this trip. Also, his sidekick on the boat.
Popeye.
I love that detail as well. And she's very much she's very focused on her job.
Yeah.
She just keeps on saying like I'm an anthropologist.
Yeah.
She even says I'm not a lady. I'm an anthropologist. So if you're an anthropologist, I'm sorry, but you can't be a lady anymore. You have to just become an anthropologist.
Check the anthropologist box when you do any paperwork.
Yeah. It's like male, female anthropologist. But yeah, this old man is not happy about this trip at all and refusing to do it for quite a while. But eventually she convinces him. I can't really track how she convinces him. It just happens. He's just like, okay.
She wants him to take her to the site of the sunken castle, right?
Because she wants to get that magical Chris. Yeah. So anyway, they get to the spot. She dives in. And we get like an underwater POV shot of her. We don't actually see the castle though.
No.
So it's just some random underwater footage. And then a massive storm comes in, like
wave,
it goes all dark, right? And then a huge wave comes in and destroys the boat.
Oh, this line that he does. This was the first scene in this film where I was like, what the fuck is this movie? Because he said she goes down under, and then the old sea dog, he's like looking out at the sea, and the waves just kind of come closer and closer and closer, but kind of slowly.
Yeah.
And then it just cuts to a close-up of him, and it's clearly just a guy off camera throwing a bucket of water in his face, and he goes, "Oh God, what have I done?" This is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's so funny. It really does look like someone just throwing a bucket of water in his face.
And the line that he delivers as well.
Perfect.
I loved it.
So good. This is something that it took me a while to connect this together in my brain. So we've seen her go under the water.
Yeah.
The boat's been destroyed. And then we just cut to her being thrown onto the bed.
The giant bed.
The bed. Big smoke machine around, and she's still in her bikini. So I guess somehow she's in the castle underwater and being thrown down. So maybe the Chris was left in the castle underwater, and like the South Sea Queen couldn't function anymore, and she needed someone to. I don't know. I'm trying really hard to connect the dots.
I think you're
with
onto
this.
something.
Yeah,
but I think you might be thinking a bit too much.
Yeah.
More than the director did.
Yeah, for sure.
And then she gets her legs like spread open with like, nylon or something. It's very Evil Dead style. And then the vagina snake comes slithering along. And in it goes. Helps itself.
In where, sorry?
Where the vagina snakes live.
Where? Oh, right. Oh, is that where it went? Oh, no.
So now she's got one. She is now
possessed
with
the vagina snake. Yeah. Vagina eel. So, a few points on this. So, as you said, we get this weird little animation of this eel going up a fanny in this scene. So, she had no idea that this was what was happening in the scene, because it's animated, right? Yeah. I've got a quote from her talking about this scene. When I saw that a couple of years later, I felt like killing someone. Over the top. No one said we're filming the scene so that later on, when we send the movie to LA, we're going to superimpose a snake or an eel going up your tush. So she had no clue.
Oh man!
She just did this scene, didn't know what was happening.
That is a violation, isn't it?
Also, on one other point, so there is an Indonesian version of this film that we'll talk about right at the end, but it basically had to be quite heavily censored.
Okay.
So in the Indonesian version of the scene, the snake goes into her belly button.
Okay.
And not up her bit. So there's all these like alternate versions that they had to redo for this Indonesian version as well.
Interesting.
But there you go. She didn't know that scene was happening.
I would be mad.
Yeah.
I would be mad.
Furious.
Can you imagine, like we said, if someone was just like, "Hey, Dave, Guy, can you be in this film?" You'd be like, "Yeah, sure, I'll be in it." And then they send you a copy. You're like, "Hang on,
there's
something going in my bum."
Well, you went for bum, I went for dick.
Well, either one. Jesus, yeah, I would feel. I think violated is the word
for sure. Yeah. The next scene also has a different version in the Indonesian version. So we then cut to the beach, and Tanya is now completely naked, coming out from the beach, just walking out fully nude from the beach after her vagina eel experience in the underwater castle.
That's a sentence, isn't it?
That for a sentence. And in the Indonesian version, they censored her boobs. Oh. So later on in the film, you see like a lot of laser sort of stuff. Yeah. So in the Indonesian version, her boobs are just glowing with lasers.
Oh, okay.
We do see it later in the film in this version as well. This scene, I think when I first saw it, this was the scene where I'm like, this is one of my favorite movies.
This is a tonal shift, to say the least.
Hard tonal turn.
Yeah. So just drunk dudes pissing relentlessly.
Straight up as well.
Dicks pointed high.
They're having
drinking
a full conversation, just with one of them pissing directly up.
Yeah.
Saturday night on the beach. Handsome guy like me? Shit. You are handsome. There's hope for every monkey in Java. Thanks, asshole. Fuck you too. Oh God, I need a woman.
These two guys are two of the least appealing men I think I've ever seen in a film. Like, they're so horny, but they've got nothing to offer other than pissing directly vertically.
Yes. I mean, it's quite a skill. I don't know. So they're stumbling around drunk, discussing how much they love fucking their hands and how much they need a woman. And wouldn't it be great if the South Sea Queen were to appear?
What are the chances?
I know, because she's like a nymph, right? So, and lo and behold, South Sea Queen
shows up,
comes on up, grabs one of them, and she's like, come on, let's go have a bonk in the car. And the other one, he encourages him. He goes, go on. You're not going to catch AIDS.
Yeah. Isn't that the most, like, unsexy thing?
Line.
It's not something you want to hear before a bonk.
Go on, you're not going to catch AIDS.
Go on, you're not going to get AIDS. Come on.
Fucking
well, you might.
You
and also,
might.
you might. You might. It's a random woman who's just walked out
of the ocean. Yeah. I'd be a bit worried myself.
I'd be very concerned.
But it's great. So now they're fucking in the car. He might be getting AIDS. And the other guy who's left on the beach with his beer, he's like,
Damn, she's bad.
The guy in the car, we just hear him screaming, which Sloppy Seconds guy thinks is screams of pleasure. Oh. But of course it's not. One more comment from Barbara about this scene.
Yeah.
She said this was the one scene she really hated filming.
It sounded like she hated all the scenes.
Yeah,
really.
she didn't. I don't think she loved a lot of this. But she said this was horrible to film because she just hated kissing that guy.
Oh.
It's like, fair enough.
I mean,
pretty grim guys.
Yeah, but I mean, she does a lot of kissing and a lot of fucking, and none of them are catches, really, are they?
No. There's one later that's I can't wait to talk about. But yeah, so the second guy, also gets his dick ripped off, blood spraying all over him. And as she walks past the door, the car door opens. The other guy's dead as well. She's got them both. And I guess from these two guys, she's stolen their clothes. Much like in the Terminator, when the Terminator steals those punks' clothes. Right. So that's why she's dressed in this, like, full Terminator mode with this leather jacket and stuff.
Gotcha. I did not connect those dots.
However, she's also wearing, like, sexy tights and stuff, so I don't think that was from those guys. Don't know where she got those. But now she's looking very much like the Lady Terminator. And she enters... Again, I'm a little confused by what's going on here, but she goes into a hotel?
I think so.
Yeah. And all these security guys are watching her enter and are like, hey, she doesn't belong here. Why are there so many security guys?
5, 6 guys. They have like massive like monitors like all over the place. They're like...
That's why I was confused.
Yeah, it looked like an entire like complex or something, like kind of security room you would see in a fucking airport or like shopping mall or something.
Stuff. But yeah, she's like sitting in this hotel room, fully nude. She's like looking at this painting of the South Sea Queen. I guess it's supposed to be a TV in the background is going with this woman singing who we'll meet later on. Her boobs are doing the glowing thing. Yeah. So that's what it looks like the whole way through the Indonesian version.
That's kind of distracting, isn't it?
Very distracting, yeah.
But yeah, all the stuff in the hotel room just starts kind of exploding and igniting, catching fire. The picture of the South Sea Queen flies off the wall and out the window. I'm not quite sure what this is supposed to represent or signify, because she's already got the South Sea Queen spirit inside her. So I'm not sure what she was doing. Looking at a picture of herself.
And then one of the security guys comes in, she pulls him in, and he's just done.
He's done.
He's done for.
And then just cuts, and now we're somewhere else. We meet the hero of the story.
We're cutting somewhere very far away. We're in fucking New York.
Are we?
Suddenly, yeah.
I did not know that.
We've got an establishing shot of New York, and we're in a bar.
I must have blinked during that establishing
It's very quick and very confusing. And we meet a man called Max, and he's coming into this bar for a beer. And he's making sexy eyes with a lady across the bar. And then just these redneck lunatics come into the bar, and immediately they're just like enraged.
Best line, though.
Oh, about the milk?
Yeah.
Hey, you serve beer here or just milk?
No, they've got more than milk, sir. And these two hillbilly redneck guys go over and start bothering the beautiful lady that Max was looking at. A fight breaks out. They beat the shit out of this guy. Max gets involved. These two other guys,
Also mullets.
also with mullets,
Regular mullets.
called Snake and Tub.
I mean, Snake and Tub. These
Snake and
guys,
Tub.
these guys are kind of the heroes of the story, really.
And we have no fucking idea who these guys are in
No.
this scene. By the end of the scene, we still don't know who they are, but they're friends with Max.
They're also police officers.
Maybe, but maybe not. We later on we hear a bit more about them. But they beat the shit out of this guy, kick him out of the bar. Max introduces himself to the lovely lady, who we find out is called Linda. And then we cut out to another scene, and we realize everything we've just seen was a flashback.
Was it?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my
That's
God.
a flashback. And we're in Jakarta. And Max is looking at a photo of himself and that blonde woman. And that was his backstory.
Wow.
We hear more of the details later, but at this point, that was just a random scene that has no connection to anything.
I thought that was happening like in real time.
No, that was a flashback.
In Jakarta. I thought they were still in Jakarta.
No, that was in New York.
What the fuck?
But we won't hear the details of what happened between him and this lady until later.
And it's not really important, really, is it?
It's not important, but it's pretty fucked up, like the reveal of what actually happened because of how dismissive it is. But we'll get to that later.
All right.
So we are back in Jakarta, and this is where we realize that Max is a cop.
Yeah.
And his two cop mates come in, and they tell him that they've got a bunch of bodies in the morgue for him to have a look at. There's also hot dogs to eat as well.
In the morgue?
In the morgue, apparently, yeah.
Anything to eat?
Well, just hot dogs.
I really hate hot dogs. Listen, Jack and I have seen more dead bodies than you've eaten hot dogs. So shut up and eat.
But before we go to the morgue, we cut to some random women that we've not met yet, walking out of somewhere. Probably a TV studio, perhaps.
Was that not the woman who was on the TV?
Yes.
When the Lady Terminator was making stuff fly around the room?
Yes. And this woman is Erica.
Erica.
And she is the great-granddaughter of the hunk that shagged the South Sea Queen in the opening scene.
That's a sentence.
Yes. So... this scene, I fucking love this scene so much. I think this is...
The interview?
I think this is possibly one of the funniest things I've ever seen in a movie. So, this woman, Erica, she's leaving, I guess, a TV studio, maybe. We don't know. There's no context to it. She's walking out with her friend, and a reporter comes over to interview her.
Yeah.
The interview is one of the most... fucking baffling things I've ever seen. It feels like it was written by like very early AI or something where nothing really connects properly.
Doesn't.
I don't understand it. So in this interview, this is the information we get. We hear that Erica is apparently not famous yet.
Yeah.
But the reporter also says that everyone knows her. The reporter says that Erica's show is a hit.
Yeah.
Okay. We also find out that Erica's got an offer from J-Town Records. And the reporter also says to Erica that I hope you'll be famous soon. I don't know what any of this means. And I love the sign-off at the end.
The sign-off is the best part.
Well, I'm sure you've all met Erica, a sweet girl who's going to be doing her rock show tonight. I'm Jill Peterson for Channel 6.
Wow. It's insane.
What does that even mean? I'm sure you've all met Erica.
I love that this scene...
And she's a nice girl, by the way.
This scene is clearly meant to be, like, giving us some exposition, but it just makes things so much more confusing. I love it, though. It's so fucking funny. Anyway, none of that fucking matters.
No.
Erica and her mate head off to a shopping mall. They go to a jewelry store, and they find this necklace that looks exactly the same as the one that Erica is wearing. We don't really hear much information about it, but Erica says that it's an authentic reproduction, but her one is like the original antique one. And Erica's one was given to her by her great-grandfather, Elias, who I guess is the South Sea Queen shagger from the start.
Right, Elias. That's a name.
Elias, yes.
Yeah.
And then the Terminator appears and sees the two ladies. We get Terminator vision.
Yeah.
So instead of being like, in the Terminator where it's all the red screen, it's just sort of like a tunnel vision.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It's weird, but I was like, okay, you're doing the Terminator thing, right? But it's not.
But she's not a robot.
She's not a robot, but sometimes she kind of emits electricity as well. Yeah. So I'm not quite sure.
Very confusing stuff. Lady Terminator follows Erica's friend into the toilet, and we get an absolutely amazing scene.
Yes.
Where, Lady Terminator has stolen an AK-47 from the security guard.
Oh.
Who I guess just was randomly carrying that around.
Is it AK-47?
Yeah.
I thought it was an Uzi.
Are they basically the same thing?
I thought...
I don't know my guns that well.
I don't quote me because I'm not a gun expert, but I thought AK-47 is like a two-handed job with it's got like a barrel that you can support with your shoulder.
Do you know what?
Uzi's the single-handed one.
I initially wrote down Uzi as well. No, you're totally right. It is an Uzi.
Yeah.
Later on, I think she has an AK-47.
She does, yeah.
Yeah. No, you are correct. Sorry. I take that back.
Take it back.
She's got an Uzi.
Which is also fucked.
No, that's fine.
Who's arming these staff members with these weapons?
But yeah, she takes it out and fucking murders. Erica's friend shoots her right in the head. Also, the
cleaner?
A cleaner comes in
Yeah.
and also gets shot horribly.
Oh, the blood sprays are great.
So good.
Yeah.
And she rips off that reproduction necklace, which looks really painful when she rips it off. You can see like the actress's neck lifting up, and she crushes the necklace in her hand, realizing that it's not real.
So that's her whole drive. She's after the necklace.
Yeah.
Do we find out why?
Sort of.
I know the
it's like a protective
wise
thing.
old man is like, she's hunting you down for this or something.
It's kind of a thing, but it's also very convoluted as well. But
right.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that later. Yeah, and then she's out of the bathroom, looks at the TVs playing in the shopping mall and sees Erica with the real necklace singing on TV. I guess they've just got that TV show on loop in Jakarta.
Despite her not being famous yet.
Yeah. And she's enraged seeing this TV with the necklace, and she blasts it away with her Uzi. There's also a random white guy who's there. She shoots him as well.
I mean, she just shoots a lot of random people, doesn't she?
She doesn't
care. She does not care.
Really doesn't care.
It's great. Lots of big explosions as well within the mall. I liked it.
Yeah.
It was good.
They went for it.
With the headshots as well. Even though we had seen blood with the vagina eel thing before biting the dicks off, like, we don't actually see anything. We just see a spray of blood kind of coming up. But this was the first actual, like, special effect.
Yeah.
And it was well done. Like,
Very well done.
Killing the friend and the cleaner in the bathroom. Shot right in the forehead. Blood sprayed. Looked great. And then the explosions. I was like, holy shit. They have actual, like, pyrotechnics and stuff as well.
This film does not skimp on anything.
No.
It's obviously low budget, but they do not cut corners. They show so much stuff, and it looks good.
And coming off the back of Homo Tea, I was very impressed.
Yeah. This is a bit of a step up.
It really is. It really is.
So then we cut to an old bearded monk man on a cliff edge praying away, and he's got the Chris in his hand.
Yeah, wasn't that supposed to be in her vagina?
I don't know. I really fucking don't know. But he's got the Chris, and he's like, Erica! And then we finally get to see these corpses that Max has been slowly making his way to check out.
Yes.
And this is maybe the second best dialogue exchange here.
Oh.
Where, like, they're clearly trying to do this thing of, like, they're just, like, you know, cops with their black humor about dead bodies and stuff. But, fuck, man, it's so funny. They're all talking about how their cocks got bitten off by an eel.
Yeah.
And there's a line that I really want to get your opinion on.
Get my opinion on.
My favorite part, he's like, one of the cops is like, after he hears about the cock being bitten off, he's like,
I've heard of the ultimate blowjob, but this is too much.
Now, I want to ask you something, Guy. Have you heard of the ultimate blowjob?
I've not.
Neither have I.
That's not a set of words that normally come together.
No. So what is this guy talking about?
The ultimate blowjob.
What do you imagine the ultimate blowjob?
I mean, I imagine being pretty good. But
Just someone spinning around on you.
on a lazy Susan.
Oh, man. But yeah, just so dumb. Like, such unbelievably stupid dialogue.
It really is very silly. And there's, like, some random guy just eating noodles.
Yeah, the mortician just slurping down noodles. But anyway, they've looked at the bodies. One of the cops, Tom, is going to go check out the crime scene, even though it's midnight, apparently. And Max and the other cop are going to go head to the club for a couple of beers.
For Erica's rock show.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'll tell you what. In regards to Erica's rock show, I think it's not even a rock show. She's like a pop star, right?
It's not rock at all.
For a very clearly low budget film, the song that they produced is actually pretty fucking good.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
I love this song. It's so good. In my notes, I've written, love this fucking song. It's a banging tune.
It is.
And we definitely need to play that over the credits for today.
Oh, yeah.
For sure.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, it was great. And it's the whole dance number, the whole lot. Like, I enjoyed it.
It's great. But yes, Max and his sleazy cop mate are there watching this show. His mate is like trying to convince him to like, hey, she's pretty hot. You should give her a go. And Max is very standoffish about this because of something in his past. Which we'll hear about later.
Okay.
I love in this scene, they clearly knew that this was a good song because they played the whole song.
Yeah.
Start to finish.
Oh, yeah.
And I was totally fine with that.
I was fine. I was absolutely fine. I loved it.
I also love the way that this scene is shot. So it's like very dark and lots of like colorful lights going around. And it kind of almost feels like Christopher Doyle has shot it or something. So you've got all these like scenes like zooming in on Max as he's like watching it. It's very like handheld and weird. It's a great scene. Yeah, I love it.
I liked there's lots of kind of disco lights and colorful flashes and stuff. It was very, very nicely done.
It's a lot of fun. But then who comes in to ruin
Lady
everything?
Fucking Terminator starts shooting the place up. Mass panic.
Yeah.
Mass panic.
Yeah.
Everyone is running and screaming. She is just shooting up everyone. She does not give a fuck.
And she gets the shit shot out of her as well.
Yes.
Now, you mentioned her reactions to getting shot and how good it seems. So, in this scene, she got second-degree burns from the squibs. She had so many squibs on her, and something went wrong, and she actually got horrifically burnt while filming this. So, I think a lot of the kind of reactions that you're seeing are perhaps real.
Jesus, I didn't even know you could get burns from squibs.
I don't think you're supposed to. But
Indonesian squibs, they hit differently. Because when she gets shot, she has a very inhuman reaction. It's like she literally jerks and flails herself. And I was wondering, like, it wouldn't surprise me if they just ever so slightly, just for like a couple of frames or whatever, like sped up that footage to make her reaction and jerks seem more inhuman. But it doesn't seem like they have. It seems like that's all her, which is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Because also, I mean, now she's in a South Sea Queen mode, but when she was in human mode, she was a very hammy actress.
She's much better as the Lady Terminator rather than Tanya.
100%. And even though the dub doesn't help, the dub makes the acting seem more shit and hammy. But even regardless of that, she is way better, way more convincing as a robot or whatever the fuck she is than she is a human.
So anyway, big gunfight. The chase sort of goes to outside the club in the alleyway. Max's cop mate has his neck broken and is killed quite horribly by Lady Terminator. And Max and Erica run into the car. So now we've got Max and the pop star. He's like saved her. And they've run off together in the car. Max also...
She doesn't even know who he is.
Yeah, she's like, who the fuck is this guy? And Max shoots a car near the Lady Terminator that blows up.
Yes.
Which is very cool. And also, all of this stuff, all of these scenes, it's just Terminator. These are just Terminator scenes.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad I rewatched the Terminator because it is blow for blow, the Terminator. Every single moment, And Lady Terminator jumps onto the bonnet of the car. And again, this is her doing this stunt.
That's
as
amazing,
well. It's incredible. Max and Erica drive off, and Erica is just furious at Max for rescuing her.
Yeah.
Erica kind of sucks.
She's a bit of a dick.
Yeah, she's not great.
And he says, like, you know, I didn't mean to get angry.
He's very apologetic.
And her reply, you didn't even say sorry. It's such a sly little remark. But this whole car chase scene is amazing.
Yeah,
like,
so good.
No expenses spared. There's car explosions, there's car flips, people shooting out the windows, doors getting slammed off. It's everything you want in a car chase.
And this is also the Max actor. He's doing this for real as well.
Right.
This is a random... He was apparently like an engineer, this guy. An expat engineer. But there's a bit where he's hanging out of the car shooting, and it is him. 100%. And you see it in a wide as he gets out from... It's nuts. Barbara, the actress, she talked about this scene and about doing all her stunts, saying they were going 100 kilometers an hour down a crowded street in Indonesia doing these things.
Fucking hell. Did they have, like, permits?
I don't know the answer to that.
Oh, my God. Can you imagine if they didn't have the road closed off?
Surely they must have. They must have. I can't imagine them not, but it's shocking. Unbelievable. But she was talking about nearly getting killed a lot of times and parts of cars, like, flying past her, like, centimeters in front of her face.
Oh, my God.
We get this big chase that ends with Max crashing the car, Lady Terminator crashing too. Then finally the other cops show up. But just like in the Terminator, when they go to the car to see if Lady Terminator is in there, she's gone. So then Max and Erica head to the police station. One of the other detectives has found the file on Tanya and just like, it's this lady.
Yeah, she went missing
for some reason. Yeah. Well, not a lady. She was an anthropologist.
Can't say lady anymore.
And Max gets a call from Tub and Snake, the guys we saw in the flashback. In this conversation, we find out that they're his friends from the military.
Right.
So that's who these two random guys are.
The mullets,
They always call in to just check. Like, how you doing there, Max? Do you need any help? No? Okay. No Lady Terminators? All right, see ya.
I mean, they are the most, like, redneck looking dudes. Loved them. They probably had the most fun on this set.
Yeah, they look like they had a good time. I also love in this scene when he's talking to these guys on the phone, Max is like, yeah, she can't be killed. It's impossible to kill her. And then I think it's Snake is like,
what you mean? If it bleeds, it dies.
Which is a Predator line.
Yeah.
So an old man shows up to see Erica. He's the same guy we saw on the cliff.
Yep.
Who held up the
Erica!
Chris. Yeah, Erica. And this guy's name is Masabu. And he tells her that the necklace that she has is how Lady Terminator has been tracking her down. So he takes that away from her. And he also says that Erica's great-grandfather was the 100th husband of the evil queen.
So all of her sexual partners are referred to as husbands?
I guess so, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
all right.
I guess she has to marry them before she shags them.
She's a Christian.
Well, Islamic, I guess. It is Indonesia. One thing I love in this scene, I just fucking love that, like, Max is there listening to this and he's like, this is fucking bullshit. But I loved Erica's line where she's like trying to tell Masabu not to worry and she's like, he hasn't been in the country for very long. Don't mind him.
He's a foreigner. Don't worry about it.
And Masabu gives Erica the Chris and says that the great-granddad told him to give it to her. And he's waited 50 years for this moment.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Could you not have given it to her sooner?
Yeah, he probably should have just preempted this.
Right.
He apparently knew this was going to happen.
Sounds like a dick move.
Yeah. So anyway, that gives us the very baffling, backstory to
doesn't
this,
explain much, I'm not going to
doesn't quite make sense. Just throw away the necklace, perhaps.
Yeah.
Put it on someone else.
Right?
Yeah.
Turtle or something.
Yeah. Put it on a turtle. Why did your mind go to turtle of all things? Well, Lady Terminator did find that pretty quickly.
Now, this next scene was what I was talking about, where we get those random lines that establish a shot. And we're just looking at a guy going to maybe his boss or something, and he's just like,
look, my paycheck is $50 short. Just sign.
And then she comes ramming in with a car, right? And it's like, what the fuck are we even looking at?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to do with anything, but that's how they open up the scenes, and I love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved it. And it really reminded me of, I don't even know if you're a fan of this film or not, but, obviously Blues Brothers. You know that scene where they drive through the Toys R Us?
Vaguely. It's been a long time since I've watched this.
Oh, I mean, it's fucking great. Anyway, they drive through Toys R Us in their car, right? And that scene opens up with, like, a customer at the checkout, and the clerk is like, would there be, anything else? And he's like, yes. Do you have another Little Miss Piggy? And then the car just like plows through the wall, and the music starts like, and it's like, it just reminded me of that.
Yeah,
it's this exactly the same formula, random pointless bit of dialogue, and then a car plowing through the wall. It's fucking great. Loved it.
And this whole scene is fucking amazing. I've got to say something quite controversial.
Oh.
So this is obviously a riff on like one of the most iconic scenes in the Terminator, where the Terminator comes in and fucks up a whole police station. Yeah. And it is just blow for blow, that scene, with electricity getting ripped out and all that. I would say this version in Lady Terminator, I find better than the Terminator scene, because it is so fucking out of control and so violent that the whole way through this sequence, I was basically like standing up and applauding the whole time. I remember the first time I watched this, I was like, yes, I fucking love this. And the scene that just seals the deal for this being one of the best ever is early on in this police station invasion. There's a random guy that she shoots, and then he's down on the ground, like lying down, and she just continues to shoot him. She blasts him to smithereens. Yeah. Not only that, after she's fucking squibbed this guy to bits, she then kicks him in the balls before she leaves.
Yeah.
Apparently that was a special request from the director, like, kick him in the balls before you leave. And the guy wasn't too pleased with that. It's just amazing, this whole bit.
This scene is fucking great, and it is relentless.
It's so, it's just non-stop carnage.
Yeah.
There's also so much of her, like, kicking through windows, like, smashing down windows, which is a thing in the Terminator films. James Cameron loves people getting smashed through windows and kicking open windows. So this is a fucking action-packed scene with a lot going on.
And on.
So I've got another tale of Barbara getting hurt. So we've had the squibs burning her to bits. On the last day of shooting, for the last scene, I'm not entirely sure what scene this is referring to, but I feel like it might be this one, because she had to kick open doors a lot on the day, and she was like just filming for hours and hours and hours, right, and just kicking doors, and they'd always be sugar glass when she kicked them open. And then she had to do a scene where she had to go through these double doors, but she wasn't supposed to kick them open. But because she was in the mode of kicking open doors, she just did it. And it was real glass.
Oh, no.
And it cut straight through her ankle, millimeters away from her Achilles tendon.
Oh, no.
Blood everywhere pouring out her leg. She got taken to a military hospital to get sewn up. And she had to wait a month for it to heal and then go back and finish filming the scene.
Oh, my God. So they just stopped production there and there for the entire month.
Because she had to recover, right?
Fuck.
Isn't that fucked up?
That is.
Yeah. But
she really, bled for this, didn't she?
She really did. You really feel it watching this scene. Like, there's so much going on. It's so chaotic. I cannot imagine what this would have been like to film. It would have been terrifying. This whole sequence.
And then Grandpa steps in.
Yes.
And he's ready for a showdown. And I was like, right, here is where it's going to get all like Mystics of Bali, kind of black magic style voodoo, you know? And it kind of does for a minute. And I was expecting like a full-on supernatural showdown.
Yeah.
And then she shoots him in the dick.
Yeah. It's so great. It's got this big build-up. Yeah, exactly. And you're like, oh, here we go. We're going to get some crazy magic. Shot in the dick.
Yeah.
And like blood everywhere.
He's done. And then one of the other characters, he goes like, oh, Jesus Christ.
So he's done.
I was so ready for like a full-on supernatural thing right there. But no, just a shot in the dick. Done. And he was supposed to be like the all like knowing all wise man, right?
He didn't see that coming. That shot to the dick.
I thought he was waiting for this for 50 years. Madness.
But yes, so Max and his other cop mate, the one that is still alive, they go to get Erica, and Lady Terminator's following him. They jump out of the window of the station. His cop mate, is trying to protect them, but gets shot on the way down. Max is also shot in the process as well.
Oh, yeah.
Not killed, but shot in the arm.
Wounded.
Yes. So Max and Erica manage to escape, and they drive off. Their car breaks down, and they head off into the woods. Again, this is just another Terminator ripoff. But Terminator is fucking beautifully written. It's like one of the best like scripts for like a Hollywood film from the 80s, I would say. And it really beautifully like builds the characters. It's so great. And the scene where the characters like finally have sex has like this real emotional power to it. This scene does not. It's the same scene, but with these two characters who have just hated each other and have no reason to be around each other. But yeah, they're off in the woods like Max and Erica, and just
it's so long. I don't remember the Terminator scene. I don't remember the actual original scene that this is referencing, so it's really frustrating.
So now you're going to watch the Terminator and just be thinking of this scene. Yeah. But they have this really grim conversation where Max finally reveals his backstory, which we saw a bit of in that flashback.
Yeah.
He says that he was once married, and he's like, yeah, and we moved to this place, but yeah, then my wife was raped and murdered by an ex-con. It's so vague and weird, and I'm just like, at this point, you probably just shouldn't have said this story. You know, you haven't given any context to this. It's just very unusual.
Fucking hell. So hang on, his ex-wife, that was the girl in the bar.
Yeah, so I guess
from the flashback.
That's when he met her, and that's why he's mournfully looking at the photo, and that's why he's not shagging other ladies, because he's still mourning his wife, who was So anyway, he's told that grim story. And then she, of course, has to one-up him, Erica. And she's like, you know, my parents died and my best friend's dead. And now I'm all alone. And then Max says,
it'll all look better in the morning.
Damn you.
And then they just shag. And it's the saddest, bleakest sex scene ever, where it's just mostly shot from behind him, sort of slowly pumping away. What's even worse? Like, you could have just ended it there. You could have ended with them shagging. No, we get one more scene of them sort of grimly putting their clothes back on
after the sex scene,
and it just felt like this scene of kind of like,
shame.
We shouldn't have done that.
Not after talking about my raped and murdered wife and dead friend and stuff.
Oh my god, amazing.
Holy shit.
Incredible stuff. So then, back to Lady Terminator. She's gone back to the hotel room.
And meditating topless on a bed. And very sweaty as well. Mm-hmm. Which is one thing I noticed. So she's very sweaty. So she has sweat glands. So she's not quite a robot.
She's not quite a South Sea queen.
Not a fish. I'm not quite sure. But her eyes all manky, I guess, from the explosions or something. We're not quite sure.
Oh, she got blasted with the necklace in the
green
eyeball.
Necklace. Yeah. That's right. That's
messed up her eyeball.
Yes. So here is where we get like the ultimate Terminator ripoff scene, as she goes to the sink and scalpels out her eye, and this is fucking great. So she goes to the scene, her eye's all kind of manky, it's a scalpel, she fucking jabs it in, she's kind of moving the scalpel around while her other eye is also kind of just like looking around, like still in motion, and it's a really good effect.
Yeah.
It's a very fucking good effect.
It's a goat eyeball, apparently.
Oh.
Yeah.
So was that like attached onto her actual face, or
no? They've got a prosthetic.
They do have a prosthetic, but then her other eye moves. Was that a fake eye then?
It must have been, yeah.
Because that looks really, really
well. I have fucking written down here, and again, a very controversial thing to say. This looks significantly better than the Terminator scene.
I mean, it does,
because the Terminator scene is a bit like he's a bit like goofy puppet Arnie, but this looks really grim and gross in a good way.
Well, what I was thinking, I mean, the whole thing with the Terminator prosthetic is they did an entire fake head, didn't they?
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas this, it looks like a prosthetic attached to her actual face. So half of it is fake, and then the other half with her eyeball still moving looks real. Not in every scene.
Yeah,
but
there's definitely a fake head.
There is a fake head, but in some scenes, it looks real.
Yeah.
And I was loving it.
It's really good.
And then so she takes out the eye.
The manky eyeball.
The manky eye. She kind of fingers it out.
Yeah.
And then stuffs a bunch of tissue. Or like cleans her like socket out with tissue. She washes the eyeball and we get these like electricity
the laser again
things.
Yeah.
I'm just like, all right, so is she a robot again now?
Yeah.
I'm not quite sure. And then she puts her eyeball back in.
Yeah.
To the wrong eye.
I thought it was because it's the mirror.
Is it?
Yeah. But it looks weird the way it's cut.
It looks... ooh.
Yeah, because I had the same thought. It's definitely poorly cut together.
Yes.
But I think it's because we've got a mirror shot and then we don't have a mirror shot.
Fuck, is that what it was?
I think so.
So I tell you what, I didn't notice it the first time I watched it, but then the second time I was like, no, that's the wrong fucking eye. And I rewatched the scene.
Yeah.
And it looked like they just made a mistake.
I think it's the mirror thing, but it does, regardless, look pretty awkward.
That would make sense considering she is looking directly into a mirror, but still, it looks bad.
Not well cut together.
No.
Yeah.
However, a fantastic scene.
Yeah.
And probably like with the whole Terminator ripoff scenes in here, like, you know, we have the car chase, we have the police station shoot up and stuff, and which are all fantastic scenes and obvious ripoffs of the Terminator. But this scene in the Terminator as well is one of the most iconic scenes. So this really, really feels like, holy shit, this is a fucking Terminator ripoff movie. And for someone who wasn't so familiar with Terminator, with the film itself, the original, even if they didn't quite notice it leading up to this point, which is very possible, going into a police station, just shooting up a bunch of cops, this scene, because it is so iconic, everyone would have been like, holy shit, they ripped off the Terminator.
Yeah. I think also the fact that there is no reason for her to be doing this to her eyeball. Like,
that is true.
In the Terminator, it makes sense in the narrative, but here it's just like, oh, we just need to rip off the Terminator some more. That's what this feels like. But you're right, it's like the most direct rip-off part of this. But I love it.
It's great. And then she just pops it back in, and then she's all good again.
Yeah. And then we get one of the funniest scenes in the film. It's now morning. A room service guy shows up. Lady Terminator invites him in. She's all naked on the bed. And I love his reaction so much. Like, this is a very goofy man. Like, a little bit chubby, very schlubby. He sees her naked on the bed and immediately starts tearing his clothes off in this mad, horny panic.
Yeah. And I think, as you would say, he's keen as a bean.
He is keen as a fucking bean. And she throws him down onto the bed for a shag and then just immediately rips his dick off.
Immediately.
Like, it's just like this poor guy. He was so excited. But I like as well, like, the way that she reacts to the dick being ripped off. It's like having a morning coffee, you know? She's like, after she's done as well. So we're back to our beloved heroes, Max and Erica, probably the two least likable people in this film. And they're now just a couple, essentially. And they're walking around a mall together. I just hate them together. You know what I mean? Like, they're just so unlikable together.
There's a lot more likable characters for sure.
And the way they talk to each other from this point on, they're always like, hey, baby, hey, honey. And it's like, guy, you had a sad shag in the woods. You had a sad shag in the woods. You can't be calling each other baby and honey.
It's a bit gross.
So they're hanging out in the mall, and then Lady Terminator shows up.
As she does. She spends a lot of time in the mall, doesn't she?
She loves going to the mall.
Mall rat.
And she just starts shooting at them, killing a whole bunch of innocent bystanders along the way. Max steals a random man's car. I found that quite funny.
He does.
And drives off with Erica. We get another car chase.
All the way to a runway.
Yes. Yeah. So they go to like this, like an airstrip, right?
Yeah.
So apparently this was filmed, I think it was like a out of service airstrip or something as well that they used for this set. And This is where we have to get a little bit dark.
Oh.
For a moment.
Yeah.
So, someone was killed.
Fuck, were they?
Making this film.
Oh my god.
But what is shocking, absolutely shocking, it wasn't one of the many fucking dangerous stunts that you see in the film that killed someone. It was actually due to people being overworked, basically.
Oh.
So while they were on this set, one of the crew members got so tired that he just fell asleep on the tarmac. It was like lying down asleep on the tarmac. Because they were filming at night, it was hard to see. Someone was in one of the loading trucks that they were using to set up and ran over his head and killed him.
God.
Barbara Ann Constable saw this happen as well, so she was like quite traumatized by this.
As you would be.
Yeah, and it was it's horrifying.
Well, you said they were working like 20 hours a day for 3 months. I mean, that is ridiculous.
Yeah, isn't that fucked?
Yeah.
But I was shocked to hear that it wasn't a stunt that led to a death, but just this horrible accident, right? But yeah, horrifying stuff. But anyway, back to the film. Sorry for that dark tangent there.
Madness.
Yeah. We're on this airstrip. So we've got Lady Terminator, we've got Max, we've got Erica. This car chase is still going. And then a helicopter appears and starts blasting rockets into Lady Terminator's car.
Snake and Bud.
And Snake and Bud... No, Snake and Tub. Sorry, Snake and Tub.
Not Bud.
And
Tub.
Joe. Just an extra one.
Snake, Tub, and Joe.
Yeah, so I think it's maybe Tub. I don't know. One of them is shooting from the helicopter. We've also got Snake, the mullet one, is in a tank.
Oh, I love it. Because
what is this thing?
It's a Panzer.
Oh, what's
That's
that?
what he says. He says, "Get the Panzer."
What is a Panzer?
It's essentially a tank.
Right.
It's like a tank, but it's not like what you'd imagine a tank to be like with that long like nozzle poking out.
Yeah.
But it's a variation of a tank.
Sure.
And I'm just like, of course the fucking mullet gets in a fucking Panzer. And he gets in the Panzer and he's driving, shooting, and he's like, fucking A! All right! He's having a great time.
Yeah, and he's just like ramming her with this, what is it, Panzer? Is that what you said? Yeah. Crushes her car, sort of almost pushes her over completely. And then Joe, I guess, one of the other guys, fires a bazooka.
Yeah.
Into the car, blows her up.
Yeah, and an airplane while he's at it.
An airplane too. So I guess that's the end. But no, it's not the end though.
No.
So she's been blown up, but now she gets out of the wreckage and Lady Terminator has now been replaced by a full-blown, disgusting corpse, no longer played by Barbara Ann Constable. Yeah, just this burnt mess. And it's like very clearly not her, very clearly like a man flapping his arms around.
But it was cool. So she kind of looks like a zombie, really.
Yeah, it's really great makeup.
And with the way that, because she was wearing those like the kind of biker punk dudes, she was wearing their clothes, right? Because half of her clothes are kind of like burnt off, and the fact that she now looks like a zombie with these like massive like shoulder pads, she kind of looks like Michael Jackson in Thriller when he becomes a zombie.
That's true.
She does. She really does. I was loving it.
I fucking love this whole scene. It's one of my favorite scenes in the whole film. And if you've been on my Letterboxd or my Twitter, it's been my logo forever. It's like Lady Terminator blasting those lasers out of her eyes.
I didn't even realize that was from this.
I love it so much. Yeah, she in this zombie form is just shooting lasers out and just killing fucking everyone. So there's cops around. She's killing them. She kills Snake. She blows up the helicopter. So kills Tub.
Kills Tub
in that helicopter. Kills Joe. He gets lasered. She's just like killing all of them.
Love it.
Die, motherfucker!
After she's killed all of these people, lasered them to death, she starts chasing after Erica and Max yet again. And Max and Lady Terminator have this great face-off where he starts beating her up with a gun.
He's out of bullets, just starts trying to bonk her with this freaking gun.
Goes for the bonk style, but she just throws him through a door.
As you would.
And then she chases Erica up to some random building in this airstrip.
I mean, I don't know. It's probably a watchtower.
Yeah,
because it's
like
built
that.
like a kind of like a clock tower type thing with like a long rotating spiral staircase up a narrow tower. It's a really cool location.
Yeah.
And it's a great scene. I tell you one thing I kind of wish they had done for this part, because up until this point it's been a really like heavy action film, right? And it hasn't dipped into horror at all, besides her like forking her own eye out. But when she kind of comes out of the flames and she's now all zombified, it kind of dips into horror territory. But the way that it's filmed is still filmed like an action film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I kind of wish maybe with like some different angles and the lighting, they had gone more into like horror territory in the way they have filmed this stuff. Because the way she looks is so grotesque.
Yeah.
It could have easily just like gone into a straight up horror movie at this point.
It's still like at that same level of madness.
She's still chasing her up the stairs, and she kind of walking with this weird half robot, half zombie walk, chasing Erica up until the top floor, until finally Erica finds the vagina knife. The vagina knife.
The vagina knife. The vagina knife. Yeah, she stabs Lady Terminator, lasers an electricity blast out, and she's dead. And then the Chris flies away.
Yeah, so the Lady Terminator's spirit goes into the
is that what happened?
I
and
think
then goes
so.
off?
And then it flies out
back
the window.
to the ocean. Perhaps.
Perhaps.
I see. And then, Max and Erica head off. They're fine, I guess. They've been through a lot. But they survived it. And then we get another one of these weird bits of narration over the top.
Oh, I didn't get it.
The struggle within our souls is never ending. The life of man short and brutal, torn between good and evil. Of the eternity around us, we know nothing. The stars look on. They have been here long before mankind appeared on our small planet, and will be here long after we are no more.
I mean, it's a great quote.
It's a great quote. Maybe the wrong movie.
I'm not sure how it applies.
But yeah, and that's the fucking end.
It's a lot to take in.
It's a lot. It is a lot, but it's great.
It is.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the aftermath of this film and its release. So the director, Jalil, he had some problems with the censors. As we've sort of mentioned, there was some censorship in the film. But he thinks it's because the film was such like a massive hit in Indonesia.
So what was it actually?
So when it was first released, it was really popular. For the first 9 days it was out, 100,000 people saw it, which is, I guess, a lot in Indonesia. And it was beating American films at the box office.
Well, hey.
And then this is, again, according to him, so it's his point of view.
Yeah.
But the distributors of American films and the American film producers were kind of pissed off by this. And they started complaining about the film and making complaints to the government, saying that it was a pornographic film. From those complaints, the censors then went after the film. And that's when it started getting cut to smithereens with all these bits getting taken out. So in his mind, it was, it should have been a huge hit, and it seemed like it was going to be, and then it got kind of fucked by the government, basically. Damn. And on Indonesian film in general, so Indonesia's economy folded. The government cracked down on films. This is not because of Lady Terminator. This is just in general.
Yeah.
Like it kind of, they started to dry up at this point. So this is kind of the end of that golden age.
Damn, went out with a bang though, at least.
Yeah. I liked, from that documentary, they talked about how these kind of films and horror films, even though they are ridiculous films, they were sort of seen as a protest against the dictatorship that they were living under. Perhaps not this film, or maybe there is something in here, but there were a lot of messages hidden in these films, to sort of fight back against the government. It's quite sad that the industry burnt out from this point on. And just on Barbara Ann Constable, she was absolutely shocked to hear that the film had been released on DVD in the early 2000s, and was seemingly somewhere between being excited and horrified that it had become this cult favorite. And people were going to screenings dressing up as Lady Terminator and stuff.
Fuck.
I guess she must have quite like a love-hate relationship with this film.
Sure.
But fucking great film.
Knockout film.
10 out of 10 film for me.
Has it been released on Blue? Or
I'm not
is it
sure about
still stuck
Blue.
on DVD?
Maybe. I don't know. I've got the DVD still, so I haven't checked if there's a Blue, but there should be if there's not one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. For her to be like, fuck, here we go again.
But yeah, definitely, I think one of the most entertaining films we've
It was a really fun watch. And very different to what I was expecting. When I heard, like, we were watching a Terminator ripoff, I was expecting a scene-for-scene Terminator film from Indonesia, but this is not that at all. Yeah. It's very much its own film with a couple of ripoff scenes and a lot of influence.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as its own thing, it's fucking amazing. I'm not sure. I'm kind of battling, like, with myself as to whether I would prefer if I wished it was just its own thing or just a straight up Terminator ripoff film. It's kind of in that weird in between area. Honestly, and as it is, I love it as it is, but there is a part of me that wishes it was just its own thing, its own original movie.
I like it. Definitely like it more because of the Terminator thing, because it feels so insane the way it's sort of wedged into this.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of films probably by the same director that are more of their own thing. So I think that already exists, but this is like this just wild, strange anomaly from Indonesia. So yeah, I loved it. Love it so much.
I'm definitely, even though it's been on my watch list for fucking ever, I'm gonna watch Mystics in Bali very, very soon.
I think you might like that even more than this. It's really great as well. How about the wrongometer for this film? So the wrongometer, how wrong the film is, how much it shouldn't exist, how fucked up it is. I think this is relatively low for me. Like, it's not that fucked up, despite all the dicks being bitten off and stuff. However, like, just how it mashes these, like, the old Indonesian legend with the Terminator. It's just such a hilarious mismatch.
Makes it more wrong.
That I have to add a few points for that, for the wrongometer. So I think I'm going to go for a 4 for this one.
Okay.
Yeah, how about for you?
4. I'm going to go for a 5. I really did love it as a film. The Terminator scenes were fucking great. I love the Terminator vision. I love the fact that none of this made sense.
Yeah.
And then hearing the behind the scenes stuff as well, the fact that she didn't know that she was going to be in this mad film where she was going to be naked, and then despite actually going and doing the shoot to then find out that it had been released outside of Indonesia without her knowing. Yeah, I'm going to give it a 5, I think. I'll give it an extra point.
And someone died making it too. Maybe I should add a point too, now that I think of that. I was only just thinking of the film as it's... I'm going to go 5 as well. I'm going to bump mine up
backstories count for sure.
Yeah, definitely. All right. We're both going to 5 today then. Okay.
Yeah, it's a knockout movie. Yeah. I'm really glad I finally saw it, because you've been going on about this forever. Yeah.
I've wanted to do this from the beginning of this podcast as an episode, because I love this film so much.
Yeah, I'm glad I finally saw it.
How about next time? So are we doing our... are you going to read me the synopsis?
Yeah, man. I'll read you the synopsis. You're going to try to guess what film, what rip-off or parody or wrong remake we are talking about. This one is pretty cryptic.
Oh, God. Okay.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get this one. Hang on. But here we go. After a surprise phone call interrupts his daily workout... Oh, this gives it away. Beefy bodybuilder Naoto agrees to meet his journalist ex-girlfriend to help her research on haunted houses. Accompanied by a professional psychic, they visit an abandoned house once owned by Naoto's father. But inside the house, a dark secret lingers, and they find themselves trapped and tormented by a relentless ghost with a 30-year grudge.
I would not know what that was if the word bodybuilder was not in there. But I do know that must be I've actually forgotten the title, but the Evil Dead ripoff from Japan.
Yep.
And I've forgotten the name.
Oh, no one blames you. The full title for this is Bloody Muscle Bodybuilder in Hell.
I'm very excited to finally see this as well.
Because you are a massive Evil Dead fan.
I'm a big Evil Dead fan.
Yes.
I actually own this on DVD but I've never watched it.
It's madness.
I've just had it on my shelf for
It's
like
madness.
15 years or something.
And it's a great time for us to do it as well, because I recently met the director.
Ooh.
And I've been speaking to him.
Nice.
And I might have a few
tidbits,
as they say. So yeah, next week, Muscle... I forgot the title. Muscle Bodybuilder.
Hell, Evil Dead.
Evil Dead. Japanese ripoff.
That one.
Bring it on.
Okay.
Groovy.
Nice. I can't wait. So please head on over to Spotify and Apple Podcast to leave us a 5-star review, please. And if you want, you can follow us on Instagram as well at Show Me Something Wrong. Oh, should I play that pop song now?
Play the pop song.
Let's hear it.
There you go.